What's going on, everybody? C4, welcome back to more C4, my secondary channel. And today's the first of two videos I'll be dropping here today. Actually, I was in the process of finishing up a video highlighting pass catchers I think the Philadelphia Eagles should target and are on my short list for the 2023 NFL Draft. A nice little video combining the wide receivers and the tight ends. And while I was working on my notes for that, the news broke that the Eagles and Jalen Hurts have agreed to a 5-year, $255 million contract extension, which makes him the highest paid player in NFL history. For now, I'm going to assume, because it's Howie Roseman, and this is the area that Howie Roseman excels far more than any other general manager in the NFL, that when it comes time to pay Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert, this number is going to get passed. It's only going to get passed in future years, obviously, but as it stands right now, absolutely earned it, right? He absolutely earned it. It includes $179 million roughly in guarantees, which is still lower than what Kyler Murray got, which is still lower than what Deshaun Watson got. So that's a win for the Philadelphia Eagles. I didn't necessarily think it was going to be a record overall number, but it did come in at that. But I think getting ahead of the Herbert, getting ahead of the Joe Burrow, getting ahead of probably even the Lamar Jackson contract is going to very much go in the Philadelphia Eagles' favor when all is said and done. I'm going to assume those deals get done before the season starts. I don't know if you can necessarily set the deadline of the draft, but also coming in lower cap guarantees than two other quarterbacks, like not breaking the market there, which, let's be honest, that's the big number. The guaranteed money is the big number, and he's the third highest guarantee in the NFL. And the fact that he's not number one, that's going to be a win for Howie Roseman and company. There was also a no-trade clause, which I thought was kind of interesting. Definitely signals the team's long-term commitment to Jalen Hurts. And by all accounts, as long as he stays healthy, it's obviously his play style. I've always kind of thought, and I've expressed my thought that he's one of the smartest scrambling quarterbacks that we've seen. Right? He knows when to run, knows how to protect himself. Gets out of bounds when he needs to. And obviously with the sneaks and stuff like that, there's going to be an element of he's always going to be getting smashed to a certain degree on specific scramble plays. But even being a smart, high IQ scrambling quarterback, he still missed time last year, right? And that stuff's only going to magnify itself the older Jalen Hurts gets. But then it comes the double head of, well, that's true, and the injuries are always going to be an issue. The other side of things is that's what you're paying Jalen Hurts 5 years, $255 million with $179 guaranteed, is to play like himself. You don't want this money to change the way that he operates because, we've seen this before in certain instances where quarterbacks will try to alter their play style to preserve themselves, and they're not the same type of player. So I think that this is just kind of goes with Howie Roseman's team building of we're always going to have a good backup quarterback. We're always going to invest in the backup quarterback spot. As much as I hate the fact that we went with a somewhat expensive backup quarterback in Marcus Mariota, at least in relation to just saying we're going to draft a backup quarterback, which is an unknown, we prioritize backup yet again, which we've done pretty much every year that Howie Roseman has been our general manager. And that gives you that little bit of an insurance policy if your quarterback plays a style that could lead to injury. And that's kind of the situation that we've got ourselves into right now with Jalen Hurts, because I think the last thing Philadelphia wants to do, the last thing Jalen Hurts wants to do is change his play style. He wants to be Jalen Hurts. He wants to be the guy that we saw in 2022 take as big of development as we've ever seen in a quarterback. It's right there with Josh Allen's development with the Buffalo Bills in terms of where they started to where they finished a season. But as we've seen with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, maintaining that level is difficult. And while by all accounts Josh Allen is still an alien of a quarterback, he's still an immensely talented quarterback, the drop-off has been real for the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. The turnovers have picked up again. Maybe he's doing too much. He's still scrambling like a chicken with his head cut off, which, from a neutral standpoint, watching Josh Allen play is awesome. But, there's different styles of scrambling quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts, obviously he's built a little bit more different than Josh Allen, right? He's literally the most jacked quarterback in the NFL, the most powerful quarterback in the NFL. And the way that he runs is, I don't know how to explain. It's almost like conservative. Jalen Hurts is a conservative scrambler And when he gets hit, it's just like, you're either the hammer or the nail when you're getting hit. It's one of those things you learn if you play football. You know what that means, right? Who is going to get over on who? And it feels like when Jalen Hurts takes off, especially when he gets lined up against linebackers and safeties, feels like more than not, Jalen Hurts is going to be the hammer in that situation, unless it's like a late hit out of bounds, which we've seen. But we'll always remember, it was Quincy Williams, the Jets-Eagles preseason game, just like popped him when he was already on the white. Like, those are the only times Jalen Hurts seems to lose those type of runs. Versus someone like Josh Allen, where it's like a lot more off script, a lot more uncontrolled, and while it's electrifying, I think most fans, even the diehardest of Bill fans, watch it. It's just like, Jesus Christ, Josh Allen, fucking protect yourself. It's only a matter of time till something bad happens there. But, those are concerns. If we have to look at the positive of Philadelphia as a franchise quarterback that took this team to a Super Bowl and was an MVP finalist last year, that is fucking awesome. I'm so happy that he got paid. I've always been a fan of Jalen Hurts the person. Obviously, the pick of Jalen Hurts, I will defend to the end of the day. Jalen Hurts could win 9 MVPs, 6 Super Bowls, and I will still defend my draft night reaction video, which I'm sure if you're watching this, you've already seen it. When we drafted him, I threw a gigantic beanbag chair, which was not, I'm not someone that would, play it up for the camera. I was fucking pissed. But we didn't know as fans, that's why we're fans. We didn't know that Wentz was done. Clearly, when the decision was made to draft Jalen Hurts in the second round, even after paying Carson Wentz franchise money, Howie Roseman, the writing was on the wall in that building that, the ice was cracking under Carson Wentz. The injuries were starting to pile up, the back, the ACL, the Clowney hit, all these different things, which no one really outside the building would know. And that's what made, that's the one thing. Howie Roseman being able to identify, because there's no way this was fluke. Howie Roseman identifying that, the writing was on the wall with Carson Wentz, and we need to go get Jalen Hurts. Even if Jalen Hurts was very much, a project-type quarterback when he was coming out of Oklahoma, which he was. But being able to make that decision might, honestly, when all is said and done, when Howie Roseman retires, that might break him even for passing on a DK Metcalf for J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. That might give him a little bit more, we might break even on a drafting Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson, knowing that he pretty much deciphered the whole Carson Wentz mystery, knew he was over, and got Jalen Hurts when he did. But in that moment, that was a bad pick. That was a bad use of resources for 98% of people that knew what was going on with that, from the outside. Because there was just no way. There was no way that pick made any sense. But what Jalen Hurts did was he came in, had some ups and downs, very valid ups and downs, was not playing particularly well. That playoff loss against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was brutal. He got exposed. There was literally like this sideline footage of the Bucs sideline saying he can't read a defense, all these different things. And it was true. He was not particularly good. But the growth and development that he took from 2021 into the 2022 season was absurd. Literally looked like a different quarterback. He could hit throws. His throwing motion was improved. His pocket presence was great. I was always, as between the ears, he was outstanding. And as a scrambler quarterback, he was outstanding. But every quarterback needs great receivers, and that's what we did. A.J. Brown came in, and the combination of the addition of A.J. Brown not only made Devontae Smith better, not only made Dallas Goedert better, but it made Jalen Hurts better. And then Jalen Hurts getting better on top of that being better, it's double better, and that is why he is now 5 years, $255 million richer. So that's the positives. The positives is awesome, man. He is an awesome player. He's the type of player that I'm not big. Back in the day, I remember Charles Barkley played for the Sixers. He had this motto. He's like, I'm not a role model, right? That was his whole thing of I'm not a role model for these kids. I'm going to act the way that I want to act. I've kind of always sided on that side of things, right? I've kind of always been like, you know what? I'm not going to tell, as a father, I'm not going to tell my kid to look up to athletes because those are the guys you should be looking up to because it's not their job to be a role model. But you know what? It helps when there is a clear role model that is on my favorite team, the team that my kids are going to get exposed to. And someone like Jalen Hurts is going to be fucking awesome for my son to grow up as an Eagle fan, seeing just the things that he does, the way that he operates, the way that he handles adversity. He does a lot of things really, really well. Off the field, as a locker room leader, Jalen Hurts is fucking awesome, and it's absolutely incredible that he's going to be our franchise quarterback for the next 5 seasons. And hell, he's going to get paid again, likely, right? At the end of that 5-year, he's still going to be, what, 29? How old is he? 24, 25, 29, 30 years old, which is, midway of your prime for some quarterbacks in today's NFL. So, I mean, outstanding job by his agent, got him paid, did the smart thing, and cashed out a second time during his contract. And hopefully it's still here with the Philadelphia Eagles. Hopefully what we saw last year is the consistent, or even maybe just a little bit below that, because obviously it's going to be tough to maintain that. The schedule is going to be a lot more difficult in 2023. But as long as the player that we saw last year in Jalen Hurts is the guy that we're getting, he's the best quarterback in the NFC. And the best quarterback in the NFC is going to cost this much. And if people get hung up on this, highest paid player in the NFL, it's not going to. It's good. Burrow, Lamar. I don't know if Lamar. I think Lamar might could get a little less than Jalen Hurts. But maybe not. Depends how desperate a team gets. But Burrow, Lamar, Justin Herbert, probably will pass Jalen Hurts at some points this offseason. But either way, it's awesome. So in closing, the negative. The negative for me, when all is said and done, is anytime you pay a quarterback this amount of money that has this play style, you need to start thinking of ways to not cut his wings off, I guess we'll use that as a term. Cut his wings off in terms of his play style while also protecting him. You do not... Jalen Hurts missed 2 games last year. That is likely only going to snowball as he gets older. That's just what happens. How can you prolong Jalen Hurts as a scrambling powerhouse quarterback while letting him still play like Jalen Hurts? And I hate to say this, because I don't necessarily want to be on one side of the fence or the other on this, because I understand both sides of this fence. But there's a certain player that you could draft at 10 or trade down from 10 into the teens and draft that is going to take a lot of pressure off of Jalen Hurts in the run game in terms of how many times he's getting hit throughout a game. And his name is Bijan Robinson. He plays for the University of Texas, and he is a running back. I hate picking a side, because while I'm very much on the side of, I'd be fine with Bijan Robinson at 10, and it seems like there's a lot of the fan base that are split down the middle of, that cannot happen. I 100% understand you don't pay running backs when your offensive line, when Mailata's paid, Dickerson's got to get paid, Kelsey's got paid, Jurgens is solid, Lane is the most expensive tackle in the NFL. When you pay that much during the trenches, you don't pay. You don't put priority on the running backs. You hope that committees like this can get the job done. But you know what? What if it doesn't? What if Kenny Gainwell can't handle being, the guy for a little bit, if that's the case? What if Rashad Penny on his 1-year deal can't stay healthy? All that means is that he is going to have to run more, and he is going to have to take more hits. You know what you don't have to worry about, injury aside, because, injury for any player, is if you get fucking Bijan Robinson out there, there's your guy. Instead of having more design plays for Jalen Hurts to run, you just keep the RPOs as is, let him use his brain, let him read the defense, which he was unbelievable at last year, knowing when to hand the ball off, knowing when to tuck it and run. Leave those as is, limit the amount of scrambles, and you could probably figure out a way, Bijan Robinson, to do the sneaks. See if he can handle the snap and push him forward. Maybe that's the next path of you can still have Jalen Hurts do it every now and again. But you know what? The number one asset to limiting the hits on a scrambling quarterback is to have a true game changer in the backfield. So I figure we'll sneak that one in here a little bit. Bijan Robinson would be a great, I don't want to say bubble wrap, but it'd be a great insurance policy to limiting the amount of hits that Jalen Hurts takes. More so than any other pick that we could make in the first round this year. But I'd love to hear what you guys think about the Jalen Hurts contract. Outside of me being right since day one when we drafted him, right? He's always been my guy. It's awesome. He's an awesome guy. He absolutely earned his contract, and good for him. But I will have another video out later tonight, kind of breaking down the wide receivers and tight ends I think the Philadelphia Eagles should target in this year's draft class. I have a sleeper wide receiver that is exactly what the Eagles need at slot wide receiver. You don't want to miss it. Make sure you stay tuned for that one. If it is your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, smash the like button if you enjoyed. Until next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace out.